Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating. It's a text called Vaidic Aloka, and what it does is lay out this ancient, almost poetic blueprint for one of the most incredible events in the entire universe, the birth of a star.
Right from the get-go, the text sets this incredibly profound tone. It opens with the Vedic verse, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya, which means, lead me from darkness to light. I mean, what a perfect way to begin a journey from the absolute blackness of space to the brilliant, blazing creation of a star.
So what's the big idea here? Well, the source suggests that this ancient description of a sacred ritual isn't just about ceremony, it's actually a detailed metaphor for stellar nucleosynthesis. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a pretty bold claim, so let's jump in and see how this whole thing unfolds.
Okay, so our story doesn't start with physics equations or quantum mechanics. Nope, it starts with hospitality. The text actually frames the entire creation of a star as a host, throwing a party and welcoming a very, very important celestial guest.
The first key player on our guest list is Soma. Now, in this cosmic drama, Soma isn't some ancient drink. It's the divine guest itself. We're talking about the raw fusion material, think hydrogen and helium, that's pulled right into the heart of a brand new star.
And this whole process of welcoming the Soma, it has a name, Atithya, which is just the Sanskrit word for hospitality. So try to picture it. A star's incredible gravity isn't some brute force. It's a gracious, formal invitation, welcoming its guests to the party.
Of course, any good host brings a welcoming gift, right? In this cosmic ritual, that gift is called Havi. The text describes Havi as this continuous shower of energetic rays raining down on the incoming Soma. It's like a cosmic energy drink to get it all fired up and ready for the main event. So the guest has arrived, it's been activated, and now the ceremony is about to kick into high gear. We're moving on to the sacred offerings themselves, the fundamental forces that are literally going to ignite this stellar engine. And right at the heart of all this is one very specific number, 9. According to the text, this is no random choice. It's the exact number of forces needed to fuel this whole cosmic reaction. So, why 9? Where does that number even come from?
Well, the text explains it with some really cool cosmic math. It says that as Soma travels to the star's core, it generates 12 kinds of mantra waves, called reaches. But once it arrives, 3 of those waves are released. And what does that leave behind? You got it. Exactly 9 powerful waves, ready to do all the heavy lifting.
These 9 ways that stick around are called the 9 kapalas. The text sees them as the 9 pranas, and we're not talking about breath here. Think of them as the 9 fundamental life forces, or the core energetic principles that are absolutely essential to get the stellar engine running and keep it going.
And if that wasn't deep enough, there's another layer. The whole process is described as Vaishnavo, which links it to the deity Vishnu. In this whole picture, Vishnu represents the idea of cosmic sacrifice. The principle that something has to be transformed or given up to create something new. And isn't that the very essence of nuclear fusion?
All right, the guest is here, the offerings are made, the stage is set. We're now heading to the very center of the star for the absolute climax of this entire cosmic ceremony.
The text describes the star's core reaching a state of intensity that is almost impossible for us to imagine. The first condition for this main event is heat, a level of heat that's just, it's beyond comprehension. And then you take that unbelievable heat and you combine it with the second key ingredient, immense, crushing pressure. It's so intense it forces all of the elements into this incredibly dense, super volatile state. Now, this combination, this insane heat and pressure, is what finally triggers the peak moment. It's the forging of new elements, and the text gives this event a powerful and honestly a really cool name, Agni Manthan. Agni Manthan literally means the churning of fire. I mean, what a perfect description, right? It just brilliantly captures the essence of nuclear fusion, this violent, churning, chaotic process where the building blocks of matter are ripped apart and forged into something new, releasing just a staggering amount of energy.
But this incredible explosion of energy at the star's core brings up a really important question. With all that power being unleashed, how does the star not just, blow itself to pieces?
Let's just put that question out there directly. The churning of fire is all about creation, but it's also unbelievably destructive. So how does the star manage to survive its own birth? Well, the text has a fascinating answer for how it finds and keeps that perfect balance.
So what the text describes is this incredibly sophisticated self-regulation system The star basically consumes or reabsorbs its own extra energy. This is what stops a runaway chain reaction. And in the process, it also gets rid of what the text calls obstructive elements. So what's left is this perfectly balanced, stable energy, which then gets channeled outwards and radiated into space. It's a picture of perfect cosmic balance.
And this brings us to what might be the most ambitious part of this whole thing, the attempt to draw direct lines between this ancient ritual and the hard science of modern physics.
Okay, so let's break down the translation the source gives us. Soma and Havi become the fusion material and the energy that activates it. Makes sense. The 9 pranas are interpreted as the fundamental forces driving fusion. Agni Mentan is, of course, the nuclear fusion process. And then, in its boldest parallel, the star's energy regulation is compared to controlling cosmic forces like dark energy to keep everything stable.
But wait, there's more. The interpretation in the source goes even deeper. It suggests that other parts of the ritual actually parallel the creation of the fundamental particles we know and love today. Your nuclei, electrons, photons, and neutrinos, all born from that churning stellar fire.
Which leads us to the big, ultimate question. We have this ancient, really intricate description of a ritual on one hand, and on the other, a modern scientific commentary that maps it directly onto the physics of a star. How are we supposed to look at this connection?
So what is it? Is this just a beautiful, profound metaphor for creation, thought up by brilliant ancient observers of the night sky? Or is it maybe evidence of some kind of forgotten advanced science? Or is it something else entirely? A bridge, maybe, showing us that people have always used their most sacred language to try and understand the deepest mysteries of the universe. Now that is a question worth thinking about.